All right, it is time to throw down. UFC 263 arrives in Arizona this weekend, and here for a fun little game of chase or fade is DraftKings contributor Tim Fennegan, the biggest favorite here, dude. Leon Edwards and Jamal Hill listed at 9-5 and 9-4. You chasing or fading one of these fighters, and you need to pay up for them in your lineup? Tell me.
Yeah, so Leon Edwards is just a huge favorite. He's over -600 on DraftKings Sportsbook, so he's like just a massive favorite against Nate Diaz. Something I want to mention for this fight: this is the first non-title fight in UFC history that's not a main event. That's going to be 5 rounds. So it's going to be 25 minutes, even though it's the third fight on the card and it's not a title fight. And that's notable because a longer fight can give Edwards more time to generate fantasy scoring. You know, he's not traditionally a big fantasy scorer, but Nate Diaz is tough, and he's tough to finish. Like, pretty much the only way you can finish Nate Diaz is by opening up a cut on him, which is what happened in his last fight. But Edwards, to me, is the safest play on the slate. Based on the DraftKings Sportsbook betting odds, and he has 100 DraftKings fantasy point upside. So I would pay up for him at 9,500.
Tim, the odds say that the Chase Hooper, Steven Peterson fight will actually be a close one, but Hooper is coming in at 7,800 on the DFS side compared to Peterson's 8,400 salary. Are you chasing or fading those extra $600 there?
So this fight for me is tough. I kind of see it as a toss-up. Like, Hooper has a dangerous ground game. He likes to roll for leg locks. He landed a rolling leg lock in his last fight, and he's a good prospect, but he's young. He's only 21, and he doesn't really have the body or the physical strength for the UFC yet. That's one concern that I have with him. But on the flip side, Peterson's absorbing a lot of strikes. He's absorbing nearly 6 significant strikes per minute, and he's landing less than that. So that's a red flag for me here. So I don't have a strong lean either way here, but I guess I would go with Hooper because he's cheaper. So I'd look at him.
What about value? Who would you chase for value on this fight card?
So Marvin Vettori, he's got the nice salary at 6,900. He's the third cheapest fighter on the slate. And if you look at his first fight against Adesanya, the last round, he won that round with takedowns and control time. And Izzy has a hole in his game, and it's his bottom game. Like, we saw that in his last fight against Jan Blachowicz, where Blachowicz got a 10-8 round in round 5 on multiple judges' scorecards because he took Izzy down, and Izzy couldn't do anything. He was just kind of holding on. So Vettori in his last fight against Kevin Holland, who's also like a long striker, he scored 156 DraftKings fantasy points through takedowns and control time. And I think Vettori could use a similar strategy here against Izzy. So, and if he does that, if he executes that strategy, he can definitely score over 100 DraftKings fantasy points. And at the third cheapest salary on this slate, like, that's appealing for me. So I would look at Vettori.
Let's see what's appealing to you here on the DK Sportsbook. Any underdogs you are looking to chase?
Yeah, so Vettori, he's plus 215 on the money line on DraftKings Sportsbook. And for all the reasons we just talked about, like Izzy has a hole in his game, and it's his bottom game. Like, he has good takedown defense in the sense that he's good at stopping single and double leg takedown attempts. But once you get a body lock on him, like, that's like we saw that in the first fight with Vettori, where in the third round, Vettori got him to the ground and he controlled him for over half the round. So if we see a similar strategy from Vettori this time around, he could easily cash in that money line. There's also like a second underdog bet I kind of like here. It's Vettori by a decision. I think it's plus 375 on DraftKings Sportsbook, because if Vettori's going to win this fight, I think it's going to be through takedowns and control time and grinding. So I don't think he would finish Izzy. So I'd look at that.
Okay, before you get out of here, just favorite bet overall on the DK Sportsbook for UFC 263 this weekend in the desert known as Arizona.
So Deiveson Figueiredo by submission is plus 750. It's like, that's pretty strong. Like, if you look at his first fight against Brandon Moreno, late in round 5, he went for a takedown. He's kind of like, all right, this guy's really tough to finish with strikes. I'm just going to take this guy down. And the bell rang while he was in top position. So if he decides like this time around to change his strategy up a little bit and be like, all right, I'm going to try to grapple with Moreno. I'm going to try to take him down, create scrambles, go for submissions and scrambles. Like that could totally happen. Because Figueiredo, I think 3 out of his last 4 wins are by submission. He's constantly hunting submissions. He's got a really nasty ground game. At plus 750 odds, that's pretty good for me. So I would look at that.